Hey guys, thanks for checking out this video. Don't run, don't hide, don't be shy. Just like, comment, and please subscribe.
I mean, dealing with the stress, I mean, dealing with the pain. Trying to find a way.
As I said earlier in the video, we are going to be diving into NFL preseason week 1. Because the reality is I'm bothering everybody about all my predictions and everything I'm seeing this NFL season. And you know what? I need to tell somebody, so I guess it's you. So we're going to start with the NFL Hall of Fame game with the Detroit Lions versus the LA Chargers. And work our way all the way down to the Miami Dolphins versus the Chicago Bears. Chargers versus Detroit Lions. Trey Lance looking like a solid QB out there. Really much of this game, I mean, it was pretty much just a slugfest. I mean, when I say slugfest, I mean just a one-sided beatdown because the Chargers were just bullying the Detroit Lions the entire time. Detroit wasn't really getting anything going. And honestly, it's not really anything for us to really start looking at right now. Doesn't mean too much because at the end of the day, this is the preseason. We didn't even see any of the starters play. But it does have me thinking, man, is the Detroit Lions just once again injuries away from being completely just decimated again this year? Ravens beat the Colts. The Ravens looking like the Ravens without their normal starters being able to beat the Colts. I mean, we completely saw this coming. Keaton Mitchell making a nice couple of runs. Anthony Richardson, while looking a little bit better, he still looks like he needs some things he needs to polish, particularly with his understanding of his offense. Hoping for a speedy recovery with his pinky, and I'm really hoping he has a solid season. Otherwise, he's going to be without a job. But to be fair, Daniel Jones didn't look that much better. So if he really wants it, he shouldn't be that hard to beat. Eagles beat the Bengals. Joe B and the boys, JC, TH, killing it, but continuing to show what their problem is. The Bengals offense, as everybody knows, can put up 40 points a game. They also gonna give up 41. They should hurry up and pay Trey Hendrickson. It's not like they have too many things to depend on as is. Pay the man. Eagles still look like the Eagles. More than likely, they're probably gonna end up taking the NFC again. But recent reports say that Landon Dickerson, Pro Bowl guard for the Philadelphia Eagles, he's out with an injury right now. Might not be out for too long, but if he is out for any extended period of time, that's definitely going to impact Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. The Raiders and Seahawks tied. By far, one of the most boring games to watch this past week. A couple highlights here and there, but for the most part, it just wasn't really all that entertaining. In fact, it was so unentertaining. The most exciting thing that did happen with the Hawks and the Raiders game was Seattle being a bunch of to their old QB, basically comparing him to Jamarcus Russell, saying that he was a bust. That's why shout out to Pete Carroll and Max Crosby for standing up for their boy. It's a new day and age and it's a new culture and I like to see it. Brown smacked the Panthers. Shador's NFL debut, completely stunning the crowd. His poise and decision making was, quite frankly, a bit, as I said, poised. He looked patient, he looked confident. Shador had a few mistakes in the beginning, but he didn't turn over the ball. Granted, he was taken out third quarter, but overall, I feel Shador has given enough to be able to show that he deserves a shot to be able to have some reps with the ones. Bryce Young looked nice and confident out there. Even guided one of his receivers back in bounds in order to make a touchdown pass. So yeah, all in all, very impressive game. Can't remember the last time that I actually gave two shits about a Browns or Panthers game, but there you go. Lions redeemed themselves, taking down the Falcons. Well, I'm not sure how much they can enjoy it, considering the quarter ended due to Maurice Norris having a pretty bad injury where he had to get hospitalized. Luckily, Maurice is only in concussion protocols, so he should be turning out okay. Patriots slapped the shit out of the Commanders. Greg May wasn't super impressive, but he looked efficient out there. Trayvon Henderson already showed that he's going to be a problem in this league. I can only imagine the feeling for your first touch in this and what you would assume to be a very long career is a touchdown run of 100 yards. Mans is a rookie running across the field like he owns it. At this point, the only question is how good of a season he's going to have. Is it just going to be impressive for him being a rookie, or is he going to be putting up some type of Jaden Daniels-like performance at the running back position? Washington just had to learn the lesson that, listen, you guys have not changed as a team. You guys just have Jaden Daniels, so relax. Put your starters in there. Guys pack up the Bills. Jackson Dart, to me, really surprised me. I think that, in my personal opinion, he just appeared to be a mid-tier quarterback. Didn't seem all that impressive, but after watching him this Sunday, I gotta admit, mans can play. While I still think that the Giants should have selected Shador, I can't deny the kid's tough. He was very poised in the pocket, had a pretty decent run. You can definitely tell he's a bit rugged. He's not all the way polished, but I like his tough style of play. Obviously, he's going to have to clean that up if he wants to have some sort of longevity in this league. But not bad at all. Nothing really of note from the Bills, 2s and 3s in my opinion. Trubisky is Trubisky, and Wilkerson had a nice one-handed catch, but overall, that's not really the main squad you're relying on. We know who the real people are. It's Josh Allen and the boys. Vikings beat the Texans. AJ McCarthy looked nice against the Texans defense. Nothing making you think he's going to dominate the NFC, but he's a decent quarterback. Had a nice game with Jordan Addison, who's going to need whatever reps he can get, considering that he's going to be out for the first 3 weeks because he can't get a driver. Don't drink and drive, kids. But all in all, it was a nice performance. Steelers beat the Jaguars. I was actually really looking forward to this game considering it was going to be Travis Hunter's debut, especially considering the fact they've been hyping up he's going to be playing both sides of the ball. I think everybody's curious to see how he's going to be able to play that out. But watching this has me a little concerned. He was serviceable on the field, catching a couple passes for a couple of yards. He did miss a tackle on defense, but I do question his sustainability being able to play both sides of the ball in this league. Though most likely, Travis is going to end up playing a lot more offense. The Jaguars need consistent weapons for Trevor Lawrence to be able to use, and right now, that weapon is Travis Hunter. Don't be surprised to see him only as a very small feature on the defense. Rams beat the Cowboys. Not to see the Rams secondary putting in some work, showing that the Rams are going to have some level of depth, which should give you guys a little bit of some confidence, especially with all the reports about Matthew Stafford having back injuries. It's only natural to start asking the question about how long he can last. But more importantly, the Cowboys in Dallas continuing to show that offense, defense, they've got problems. But most importantly, their biggest problem is their defense. I can think of a guy that's inside their building at this very moment who very much so could help out that problem. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up trading him away. And Micah, I don't blame you for wanting to be traded away. I won't be mad if he comes to Chicago. Just do not send him to Philadelphia. Buccaneers sweep the Titans. Though Cam Ward called his team mid, I thought that his performance was fairly decent. Cam looked extremely poised in the pocket. Didn't really look like he was folding under the pressure. There was a couple of frustrating drives, I could tell, and times where I went to my kitchen to get myself a refill of water and come back and these guys are already kicking the ball. But for what it's worth, I think Tennessee is smart and I think they can see the talent with this kid and they'll definitely continue to build around him. In other news, Shiloh, he almost got himself a sack. Need to see more from Shiloh as a football player. But as a human being and as an individual, my man's is hilarious and he's just got a fantastic personality, so I'm rooting for you. Jets destroy the Packers. Being I'm from Chicago, I was rooting for Jay Fields to be able to get QB1 someplace where he was going to be appreciated. Admittedly, Jay Fields has had a couple of issues with being more sure of himself when he was in the pocket, which is why, and being able to just make something out of nothing, quite frankly, which was why I was a lot more accepting of the idea of having Caleb Williams come into the organization. The fact is that we just needed somebody who's going to make something out of nothing, and it just wasn't going to be Jay Fields. It had to be somebody else. But seeing him out there today, he looked poised, he looked confident. I loved seeing the fact that he had defenders that were inches away from him and he was still locked down fields and he didn't run until he absolutely had to. And when he did, he was able to make that nice 13-yard touchdown run. Impressive. I hope he finds success with the Steelers, but since they're pretty much stupid over there, I'm glad he's found a home with the Jets. Hope he does well as their QB. Hope he does well as a QB, and I hope the Jets have much success in the future. Oh, and the Panthers suck, so the Packers. Cardinals edge out the Chiefs. This is the one game I didn't watch. Just based on the highlights alone, it didn't really seem all that noteworthy. Pat Mahomes did play, which is always a treat, but at the end of the day, this is just a preseason game. And again, much like the Bills and the Lions, I'm not too worried about them losing. It's just the preseason, but again, it just exposes what level of depth do they have. Are they just injuries away from being out of the playoffs? Broncos handle the Niners. No real starters from San Fran, but starters did play in Denver. Not too impressed with Bo Nix's drive in the beginning. He only played for a drive or two and came out. Wasn't able to come away with a touchdown. He looked very poised, but again, not as efficient as we'd like him to be. A lot of people are saying that Jaden Daniels is going to get a quarterback slump just because he has such a insurmountable mountain that he needs to top in order for him to have a comparable season to his previous year. But if there's any quarterback I feel like is going to have a true sophomore slump, I think it's going to be Bo Nix. Chargers light up the Saints. Comes to New Orleans and Spencer Rattler, it just seems like everybody's kind of all over the place. Some people love him, some people hate him. A lot of people just kind of agree that he's not going to be your winning guy. But quite frankly, he can't handle pressure. He had a couple of completions and he had a couple of nice plays with his legs. But at the end of the day, he's just got to find a way to put him away when he gets to those end drives. He just wasn't able to come away with points. Tyler Show had some impressive moments, even leading the touchdown drive, but he did have a pick six, which is pretty costly, so it kind of negates your touchdown. He's definitely going to have to polish up his accuracy if he wants to beat out Spencer for the job. Though all of this could have been solved if you just drafted Shador. Last but not least, the Miami Dolphins tie with the Chicago Bears. Bears defense looked amazing in that first quarter. None of our starters played, but we were able to have a huge red zone stop. Noah Sewell was just out there putting in havoc, even getting to see Ben Johnson get hyped on the sidelines. Austin Booker, 3 sacks. I expect he's going to be utilized a lot more in the Bears defense. Ruben Hippolyte drafted in the 5th round. Looked aggressive and athletic. Nothing too major, had a couple of tackles, but all in all, I look forward to seeing him work in the future. I mean, played well with a couple of redeeming plays from Zach Wilson from the Jets. Tyson Bagent and Case Keenum earned their keep as real solid backups in this NFL. They definitely show you that while they're not as appreciated as they should be because they don't get all the stars and shine that the star and starting quarterback get, they provide a security blanket for the team that should Caleb or should their starters get a injury, they're able to step up and keep the team afloat, either to the end of the road or at least until the starter's able to recover. Tyson Bagent, I think, could possibly even get himself a starting job someplace. Where, I don't know. I mean, honestly, any place that's struggling with a quarterback would definitely benefit from having him. But selfishly, I just want him here because he's such a great quarterback, and him being behind Caleb, it just gives us so much comfort here in Chicago. But that's all for this week. Let me know what you think. Did you watch this NFL preseason? Do you guys tune in? Are you guys as focused in on what these preseason games mean, or am I just the only person that is crazy? Let me know what it is, what games that you watched. Let me know what details I missed. Let me know if there's a play that you've got your eye on. But that's all for this week. We'll carry on with this one next time for the next week of the preseason games. We'll see you then. Hey guys, it's Tony with the TD World. Thanks for checking out this video. Remember, don't run, don't hide, don't be shy. Just like, comment, please subscribe. See you next time.
For me dealing with the stress, for me dealing with the pain, trying to find a way.